My name is Chris Chandler. I'm out of Portland, Oregon. I have a studio called New House Press. We've been running since 1996. A very small print shop. We do a lot of concert posters. We do art prints. Our name, New House Press, kind of came from a little bit of resistance to the letterpress world. When I got into it, it was very rule-driven. I took a workshop and they said, you're going to do it this way. You're going to do it exactly like this, which is a good method. You learn that method. And he said, this is the old house. You're going to learn the old house. If you want to do something different, you go start your new house shop and do it different. But while you're with us, you do it the old way. And I said, great. So I took a workshop. I learned it the old way. But I said, we're going to do it the new way. Maybe a bit arrogant of me starting. But we said, we're going to call us the New House. And that's what we did. So we kind of experiment and have fun with it and see where it takes us. How I got to where I'm at today. Yeah, that's a good question. Kind of a convoluted path of music career, tour manager, printer, art lover, a little of everything. I guess I started pursuing a music career when I was a young kid. And through that career brought me into the art world, printing, making concert posters, making flyers, slowly developed into trying to change that into an art world, I guess, making more abstract art. Using a lot of what I learned in the music world as a tour manager, sound guy, kind of apply that a little bit to my art practice. How things get done timely, how things get put together. It's kind of a two worlds meeting. Yeah, the Alpha Block came about, I like to go around and buy junk, buy old equipment, buy boxes of anything to do with old printing equipment. And there was this font that came with it, a section of stuff that I bought, and they told me it was Morse code, which it wasn't. I think that's what they thought at the time. So I kind of started researching it. Found out it was from the American type foundry called Alpha Block. I started making small little business postcards with it. I didn't think too much about it. We got called to go up to St. Louis. They wanted us to do something big. And at the time, I was kind of toying with the idea of making a billboard. With people who know letterpress, these machines are heavy, they're huge, they're 5,000 pounds. And you can produce a card with it, or a small poster. So I kind of thought of making a large piece to represent the large machines that we have. Something to kind of challenge the size. And when thinking about a billboard, I didn't want to be constricted to one piece of art that was made and used once. I like the idea of modular. You could go 4 feet, 8 feet, 40 feet, and just never stop. So I kind of put two and two together and re-envision this Alpha Block to be more of an abstract installation that could be endless possibilities. So when Alpha Blocks was released in the 40s, they had an ad campaign. Part of it was saving money. Part of it was, creativity. And part of the ad was linear and reverse. Think of your fonts in linear and reverse. And I like that line. And to me, it kind of maybe was a quick something in their advertisement they were speaking about, but to me, it kind of flowed. It was a good idea, linear reverse, and that's kind of where I gleaned it from, an old advertisement flyer. What I kind of learned from touring and working with bands, you just push through it, just keep working and working. And maybe I'll take 2 blocks and scale it way down and just try and design something out of those two through color and overlaying and overlapping, and just try and get the picture smaller and smaller and smaller until I can just focus in on one very simple task. And that could even be just turning a block sideways. And then taking that and just growing on that idea and just building out from there. Like if you try to look at it as too big of a picture, It's hard to envision it. I think it's just too much to bring in. Some of my pieces I make and then I don't like them and I redo them. You can still see the others bleed through the remnants of your past. The prints wouldn't fit on the block, so Max at the time said, well, let's tear it, let's kind of replace and get it to the edges and see what happens. It was going to be a 4x4. I had the plywood cut. I paid 50 cents for someone to cut it. You don't get an accurate cut for 50 cents. It's about a ½ inch off, and then the prints lined up. And Max, who does these big buildings, said, well, I tear these things and I kind of piece them together so they have an edge, and that way we can see what they look like. But when I'm doing a building, you're 3 stories down, you don't use them. So we kind of did that just to see how it fit, and I started really loving these tears and these cracks. And I was sitting in my studio one day. I had one that was torn and one that wasn't, and staring at them both. And another artist walked by and said, why are you staring at these 2 pieces? I said, well, I don't know what to do. I'm at a crossroads in my career right here. Am I going to tear or am I not going to tear? And she said, it's a super simple answer. If you want to be an artist, tear. If you want to be a designer, don't tear. And I said, well, I think an artist would be pretty cool. And so we started tearing up and embracing that, and then starting to see all these options of colors underneath coming through and layering and overlapping and crumpling and weird alignments. And it became a thing, all from somebody at the lumber store who could not, well, they could, I'm sure they could do a perfect cut, but not for what I wanted to pay. And took that and went with it. So think about, those are 4 prints there. It lets you see, it ties everything together to me. The tears kind of bleed across and they let these other colors come through.